Hey guys, welcome to part 2 for my video of working with Alclads. Hopefully you have watched the first one, and if you haven't, I'll end up putting it in the comment or the link section. I'll put the link in the section below, description section below. And today we're going to be starting off with painting these. If you've watched my other video previously, part 1 to this, you've seen that I talked a little about the Alclads and the paints, and I had somebody comment on whether they can go through an airbrush, whether you can hand paint them or not. And I do have to comment on this. You cannot hand paint these. They're strictly used for airbrushes only. That's why they come thinned, really thinned as they are. They're like water basically. You do have to give them a good shake though before you use them, because all that stuff sits on the bottom, just like a normal thing of paint that you would. But first part, starting off with the paint. For the pieces, these are my these are my elevators for my F4E Phantom and 1/32 scale that I'm currently building by Revell. So I'm going to be talking about painting process. You do not lay, for me, you can do this, you don't have to, but for me, I do not lay Alclad down right away as the very first thing I do. If you have a surface that is not painted and you're just, let's say you're working with an F-104 Starfighter and you're using a chrome, an Alclad chrome, I suggest you prime it, lay down either a gloss white or a gloss black coat, and I'll tell you why. Priming it, you're just basically giving it something so it doesn't, because this stuff is relatively see-through. If you're just putting it on bare plastic, you do not want to put it on bare plastic, because you're going to be able to tell that there's just plastic behind it. You want to either give it a good primer of your choice, or a gloss black or a gloss white coat underneath it, because that way it'll reflect that. Like if you're using a chrome, it'll really reflect that chrome finish, and if you're using aluminum, it'll give it a more polished aluminum look to it. So I'm giving it a gloss black coat, because I don't want it necessarily like extremely shiny, but I do want it to look dirty underneath it. That's why I'm using the black, but I do want it to reflect just slightly. After weathering it, it'll tone it down, but I do want it to reflect, and that's the reason I'm using a gloss. So the black is for just tonal variation. It allows it for the black to be seen through a little bit, to give it a dirtier look, and then the gloss just allows it to reflect a little more. So anyway, I'll go down and start painting these and explain to you how to just paint it. So now that we've got them taped off or masked, I'm going to start out by laying a gloss black coat on both of the pieces before I lay down the Alclad. So I'll get down to my painting booth, and then I'll show you guys how to start laying down the paint coat. Alright. Okay, so we are starting our painting process. Hopefully I can make this quick, because it's in my garage actually, and it's here in northern Idaho. We have a really hot weather outside. It's probably 90 degrees, just maybe above 90 degrees, but here in the garage it's about 88 to 90, so pretty much the same temperature. I don't like to paint when it's extremely hot outside, but just for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you guys how to get this process done, because I also don't like painting late at night. So starting off, the color that we're painting with is the gloss black. Here I'm using a Tester's gloss black I got from Michael's for only $1.79 a bottle. They usually have coupons on every time you go there, 40% off of 40 or 30% off of like pretty much anything. But anyway, we have our compressor started, and as always, I'm going to run some air through to make sure you guys can see this. Running some lacquer thinner through my paintbrush to make sure that it starts flowing smoothly. I also need a new paper towel, so I'll grab that. Okay, so the pressure is about 20 psi, 18 or 19, something 20 like that. And we do have smooth paint flow on the airbrush. As you can see, not very well though. Want to run all that lacquer thinner through it. That way it just cleans out the airbrush or the nozzle. Okay, and start by shaking this bottle up. Gotta shake it really well because, I mean, it does settle on the bottom of the bottle, all that paint. Okay, now that we've shook it, we're gonna put some straight into the airbrush, or airbrush cup, as you can see. Don't need a whole lot, but we do need a good amount. I know how much I need just to cover that area. Want to wipe off the paint jar because we don't want the paint sticking and not being able to get the cap undone. So I added about, I don't know, a little bit of paint in there, and I'm thinning it halfway. It seems like that gloss paints you do need to thin much more than you do regular paints, just because they're always thicker, they come thicker, and just because they're gloss, I think. So right now I'm putting a toothpick in there and just kind of stirring the paint in that cup. I just mix my paints, or thin my paints right in the cup. I don't do it in any other cup and then pour it in. But let's see if we have smooth paint flow. Yeah, it seems that we do. And so we can start off by painting these, by running right through the paint. I don't know if we have enough light. Hopefully you can see it. I think we do have enough light, but just painting, starting them right now, running through them, making sure it's well covered. And this acts as a primer as well as a black base coat. There we go. You want to make sure it's all covered, and covered well, because you're going to be laying down your Alclad right after this, right after it is dried. Okie dokie, so we've laid it down. Now I want to set it aside. I don't really know where to set it. Didn't plan ahead apparently, so that's not good. Anyway, I'll just set it off to the side here. There we go. And then next one, starting off with the next one. Second piece. And then again, just you have your piece and you have your gloss black coat or gloss white coat, whatever you prefer first. Just starting and laying it down. Like I said, this stuff acts as a primer, so just give something your Alclad coat to adhere to. And turning it over, same thing again. There we go. And like always, the edges, the leading edge and the trailing edge as well. Just make sure it's well done. There we go. All right, now we have them painted. So we have both pieces painted. I'll get the other piece. I don't really need it, but we have both pieces painted, as you can see. And now we're gonna have to wait about 30 minutes for them to dry. And after they've dried, I'll get back to you on that and then continue the rest of this video for you and let you guys finish all of it before I actually stop the whole thing. Okay, so the pieces have completely dried. It's been 30 minutes, and what I'm going to begin doing is I'm actually not gonna mask anything because I'm painting in two different shades, but I'm actually gonna spray parts of these that I want a specific color. So for the front and back of these elevators, F4 elevators. So if it was going to go down like this, like that, and the aircraft is facing that way, I'm going to paint the front and the back of it with the dark aluminum first without masking anything, and then I know I'll get over paint in this middle section, but I'll mask it after I paint it and let it dry. I'll mix the two colors and paint this middle portion, that darker color. So I'm going to begin by going down to the paint booth with my first primary color, and then we'll get right to painting both of these pieces. Okay, so again at the painting booth, and the first color that we're going to be putting down, is the, let me see if I can focus it. There we go, the dark aluminum, which is the Alclad 103. As you can see, I've got still a whole lot left, and we're not going to be using a whole lot. I did give it a good shake before I started this video up again, so it should be pretty easy. It should be pretty well stir up, but before you paint these, don't forget to shake them really well, because they do settle on the bottom. And you don't need, the good thing about these, or the cool thing about these, is you don't need any thinner, so you could just pour them right into your airbrush. Hold on, let me pour it right in so I know you can't see very well here what I'm doing, but I'm just actually pouring a little bit in. Pouring right into the airbrush paint cup, airbrush paint cup. So I have some in there, not a whole lot. I don't know if you can see that. Nah, you won't be able to see it, but that's okay. So I have the pieces, and I'll turn on the compressor. And again, to make sure that paint is coming out real well, and it is, what you want to do first is make sure you get all the dirt off. Just spray air on your pieces. And then after that, just start spraying the parts that you want sprayed, or just the color that you want sprayed. And don't necessarily just lay an even coat on it. Kind of do random spots like you would with black basing, because that way it shows metal worn, like being worn down, if you know what I mean. So there we go, we're spraying in specific places. And then again, same thing on the bottom. Hopefully you can see it. I'm not spraying in any specific place, just spraying randomly. Don't forget to follow up with your edge, or your leading edge and your trailing edge, to cover those as well. Sorry if you can't hear me very well because of the loud air compressor. But there we go, that should be good. I mean, it's as good as I want it. I think though, if you could see some of the little black spots where it's not as glossy or just as reflective, you can still see some of those black spots. Those I want, because those represent like dirtied up metal on the aircraft, so it'll look good once it's on and once it's weathered as well. So I'm going to let that sit and dry. Same thing with this one. Blow it off and then start painting it. Again, no specific place, just paint wherever you feel you want it. Just covering it all. And then switch it over onto the other side. and make sure I have it leading edge and trailing edge covered really well. So there we go. That piece is all done, just as well as I want it done. So now we're gonna wait for these to dry, and then we'll come back for the video. I'm gonna put the paint away and then just wait for these things to dry, and then I'll make the third part of this video. So if you want to head over and watch the third part, and while you're doing that, I'm gonna put away the paint, I guess. Alright, see you later, guys.